Hi everybody, it's Samaya. Welcome back to my channel. I'm 46 years old and today I'm going to show you guys how I make my immunity drink at home for general wellness and glowing skin. The ingredients I use in my immunity drink have really good anti-inflammatory properties, antioxidant properties, and are just overall really good for your general wellness, your immunity level, especially when it's that season where everybody's getting sick. And it's also really good to keep your skin nice and glowing. I feel like when I skip my drink, I'm definitely more susceptible to getting a cold, or my skin just doesn't look as glowy as I want it to. So I definitely make sure that I always have this in stock in my freezer. One of the first ingredients in my drink is lemon. Lemon has a lot of vitamin C, so it's a really good antioxidant, and it just keeps your skin nice and glowy, and it really helps protect against seasonal threats because of that high vitamin C content. The other two important ingredients in this drink are ginger root and turmeric root. Both of them have really good anti-inflammatory properties. So if you're dealing with things like joint pain or acne or things where inflammation might be the cause, those are two really good ingredients to include in your drink. The other ingredient is going to be black pepper. Black pepper has an ingredient in it called piperine, I believe, and it really helps the turmeric absorb into your body better. Turmeric has a compound called curcumin that needs another compound like piperine to help it absorb. So just make sure that whenever you're using turmeric or turmeric root, you are making sure that you're putting a little bit of black pepper in it to help it absorb. The other ingredient in my drink is manuka honey. Manuka honey has a lot of health benefits. I don't put the whole serving size, which is 1 tablespoon of the manuka honey in each compartment. So you can just add a little bit more later if you like. I just generally add it for some sweetness and some of the health benefits. In the past, I've put pineapple, I've put orange, I've even put coconut water. I don't really want to use a whole lot of different ingredients that might not have a lot of benefits. And it also cuts down on the amount of time I spend making the drink and prepping the ingredients. So I don't really put the pineapple and the orange every time. Also, I don't add any additional liquid to this drink except the water that I add at the end when I'm drinking it, because I don't want to water it down. And so this is just a very concentrated mixture of the ingredients that I'm going to freeze and use for my individual drinks. So let me show you guys the ingredients. For my ingredients, I have organic lemon, organic ginger root, organic turmeric root, manuka honey, and organic ground black pepper. For the lemon, I've cut them into smaller pieces. As you can see, I do leave some of the rind on because it's very potent and has a lot of health benefits. I'm not worried about pesticides or chemicals because it's organic, so I just leave some of that on. This is about 3 medium-sized organic lemons. Then I have organic ginger root. I get about a 1.75 pound container from Costco. I just cut it up into about 2-inch or 1.5-inch pieces. I rinse it really well. I don't cut off the peel just because you don't really need to when it's going through a juicer, and it's just a lot more work. You don't end up with any of the rind in the finished product, I promise. Then for the organic turmeric root, I get about a 1 pound bag of this. I just cut it up into smaller pieces and rinse it off really well. I could probably use more turmeric root, but for now, this is what I have. I get the manuka honey from Costco. This is the 12 UMF potency. I really like it. I think it's really good for just overall health and wellness. And the organic black pepper, I think I got that from a grocery store, probably Walmart. I'm going to use my Ninja juicer. I love this machine. It's definitely an upgrade from my old juicer that had a lot of moving parts and a lot of parts to clean. And you're also gonna need some silicone ice cube trays. So I'm gonna start juicing all of the different ingredients, and I'm going to wear gloves because the turmeric root especially can stain, and I don't want it to stain my nails. So let me turn it on. I love how quiet this juicer is. It might sound a little loud on the video, but trust me, in person it's super quiet. I'm gonna just start off by putting in a few chunks of the lemon. Now if you want, you can alternate and you can put lemon, then ginger, then turmeric, then back to lemon. Sometimes I feel like the harder the ingredient is, the harder the product is, like ginger or turmeric, it can get a little stuck. So sometimes following it up with a little bit of the softer lemon is helpful. So I'm just gonna push that down the chute. This juicer is really small but mighty because you might think it's really not that strong, but it really does juice hard ingredients very well. So I'm just gonna keep going with my ginger and my lemon. You can also put organic orange in here or any other citrus fruit that you would like. I've even done pineapple. But I feel like I get enough sweetness with the manuka honey that I put in there. I just feel like making this drink at home is so much more economical than buying it at the store because, you know, I would get a little lazy and I wouldn't make the drink at home and I would just buy the individual little bottles of the immunity drink at the store, and that adds up. You're talking probably $2 to $3 per bottle, and that's per day. So when I'm in a pinch, I might do that, but I just really love to keep this on hand in my freezer just for my daily use. You can make as little or as much as you want depending on how much space you have to store it. Just get more ice cube trays if you want to make a double batch. I just usually stick with about 3 or 4 ice cube trays. That gives me a nice amount of the drink. I feel it lasts me for a good month or so. Don't be in my video.
This is my mom's skincare routine.
Now I'm gonna transfer this into a different container for now because it's getting a little bit full and I don't wanna have any accidents. I'm just gonna grab another measuring cup and I'm gonna pour this into this other measuring cup just to start over and so I don't have any spills. We're gonna finish up the rest of our, juicing the rest of our ingredients now. All right, we're done juicing all of our ingredients. There's kind of a mess here because my pulp container got a little full. I'm just gonna go ahead and pour the rest of this into this bigger cup. And now I'm gonna mix it just to blend it all together and make sure it's all incorporated. Now I'm gonna pour the mixture into the silicone ice cube trays. These are really easy to use because they just pop out from the bottom. After they're frozen, I will take the cubes out and I will transfer them into a big Ziploc freezer bag. And I will just take one out every day, pop it into a mug of hot water, and that's my amazing immunity drink. So let's go ahead and pour. Looks like I need one more tray, so that's gonna be 4 trays in total. That's gonna give me about 40 of these cubes, which is about 40 cups of my immunity drink, which is great because that means it'll last me a little over a month. I filled the trays up pretty much all the way. Now I'm going to add a little bit of manuka honey to each individual section. You can add this in your finished drink if you want after you've added your hot water, but that's just an extra step that sometimes I might forget and then I end up just drinking it and it's really sour and tart. So I just feel like adding it at this step makes things a lot easier for me and just more convenient. So I'm just gonna put a small amount of the honey in each section, about that much. So honestly, it's probably less than a teaspoon. If you want more later, you can add it later. Now that I've put my honey in each little segment of the ice cube tray, I'm going to put in a little pinch of black pepper. The black pepper is necessary to help the turmeric absorb. There's an ingredient or a component in the black pepper that helps do that. I'm just gonna put a pinch. You don't need a whole lot. You don't need a whole, even half a teaspoon or anything like that. If you love black pepper, go for it, but I just feel like I need a pinch. This is how it looks before I put the lids on and put it into the freezer. Now I'm gonna put the lids on. This part can get a little messy if they overflow a little bit. If you feel like they might overflow, then you can probably just put them in the freezer without the lids, but just be really careful not to spill it on your way to the freezer. But if they don't look like they're too far up to the top, I'm gonna go ahead and pop the lids on. After they're frozen, I'm going to pop them out and put the cubes in a Ziploc bag, and every day I just take out a cube, put it in a mug, pour some hot water over it, mix it up really well because you want to incorporate your honey and your black pepper, and just enjoy your immunity drink. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to make your homemade immunity drink for overall wellness and glowing skin, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.